Best intro to any show ever. Anyway,
that was awesome. What you just said there. That
looked
was
really
an
excited.
epic moment.
Yeah.
But what I want to say is happy 2021, my friend. That was a really well planned, kind of idea that you had there to end the last podcast and have the first podcast of 2021 ever. At least on this side of the world.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, hey, if you see this, share this out with somebody who is, experiencing New Year's between Japan and the United States somewhere, Hawaii maybe. And anyway, let's listen to this tune together. And I just want to celebrate freaking Jimmy. We get to spend all of 2021 hanging out together. As opposed to
we're not going anywhere anytime soon because this is really too much fun, man.
We're crushing it. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne? For old lang syne, dear, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup o' kindness yet for days of old lang syne.
Oh, that's so adorable. I have a better idea. So please hold. Say something witty.
Yeah, well, I mean, that just doesn't work when you ask me to say something witty. I mean, I'm more
the answer to that is always something witty.
Oh, yeah, we're back to that. Yeah, okay, sorry.
Check this out. This is better.
Should all acquaintance be
Dropkick Murphys, baby.
Never brought to mind. Should all acquaintance be forgot and the days of old lang syne? For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for the sake of old lang syne.
Incoming.
For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for the sake of old lang syne. Let's have a drink or maybe two, or maybe three or four, or 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, or maybe even more. For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for the sake of old lang syne.
So that's probably going to get us kicked off YouTube, but whatever. It was worth it.
Yeah, well, and for those of you that don't know, I mean, this is my that's pretty much the view that my good friend Corey had when he was growing up from the outhouse.
It's a true story. Well, we had an actual house.
Yeah. So yeah, we got cut off, but I'm gonna put this in the post after because it was fun, the Minecraft thing. But it's kind of cool. It's essentially our first episode of 2021, at least for me.
Yeah. No, I mean, and almost for me, I like it. We'll just have to come back on at midnight and do it again.
Yeah, I can probably do that. It's gonna be. Oh, I can totally do that. Not from my house, but I got a laptop. That's the beauty of modern technology.
Baller.
Let's not stay too long, but let's do something fun. Let's do it.
Yeah, couple things. One, I want the thing for which you are most grateful for that came out of 2020.
They came out of 2020.
Mm-hmm.
2019 is my daughter. But she was born on December 2nd. So I'm going to hold that for 2019, and I'm not going to say time with my daughter. Obviously that's up there, but I honestly, I would say, it's going to sound a little bit strange, but I think it's working with people that like I never thought that I would meet. You're a top on the list. There's a few other teams of people that I'm working with in the crypto space online, in the USIO space. I mean, it can be a really negative space out there, but I'm doing things that I never thought that I would be doing. Like I'm this close to being able to walk away from everything I know in life and do something that I really want to do. So you're a really big part of that, because I've been on camera with mBlue before, but I've never really been like in this capacity to be able to do video, right? I'm a writer. I like being a writer. I write for, a lot of projects, which I'm grateful for, but I think you kind of brought me out of my shell. So as loaded, as cheesy as that sounds, this is our show.
Man,
it might be you, actually. It really might be. That's great. There's a lot of great things, but
I appreciate that, and I completely relate to that. I don't think it's cheesy at all. I've been reflecting, recently, like basically like the Uplift was an idea. I was telling people about this idea that we could combine cryptocurrency and Minecraft for 2 years. People have been listening to me for 2 weeks. Right. And you see what happens. Right. And part of that is that, the making the cathedral and setting that intention. I had a conversation with Greg maybe 3 months ago where it was like, we didn't keep doing this. And we all stopped. And because there was no one, it was just us going half the time. Right. And we was like, no, there's something here. I don't know what it is yet, but there's something here. So let's just keep doing it. And besides which, what's the worst thing, that's going to happen? Being grateful once a week. Right. it's not, but like within the last 90 days, I have been able to truly connect at a human being level, not as like a surface, like what's your project like or whatever. Like I feel like I'm connecting with, people that have the same kinds of intentions in this space where we can kind of make anything happen, right? You get the right people and the right tools together. And, I think, I believe that the Uplift is going to be a really, really good example of that. We know all the pieces are just sitting right there. We know that people have been doing little pieces of this, and it's going to be our team that is going to take a really strong run at combining all of these things to make an ecosystem that is not only thriving, but, is hyper inclusive and bringing people in, and, letting people get their own creativity freak flag out and start building and iterating games and different things from this model. So without the people that I've met, like you and mBlue and the whole Uplift team and Kurt and the whole Chirp team, and like that, coming up from that, and Anderson, freaking, EOS USA and Adriana from Cypherglass, like without all these people, I wouldn't be here. And I probably wouldn't believe, if I hadn't talked to so many badasses, that this was even possible. Right. So I think, if you're going to be grateful for something, that's a really good one. So,
yeah, and it's crazy to me as well. Like, like you alluded to, I've lived in a country where I don't necessarily speak the language fluently. I mean, I'm pretty freaking funny. Like not because my not because my Japanese is bad. I'm just funny by nature because I speak like a grade 6-year-old, because that's about the level of my Japanese. But at the same time, it's hilarious. Like, and I speak with this weird, kind of intonation and accent. But it's interesting because through cryptocurrency, through, Tribe initially, and then through, some of our mutual friends in that eco space, and connecting with people in Australia, connecting with people in China, mBlue and Uplift Art, Uplift Nation, all of that kind of stuff. I actually have a place where I can go that like people get me. People are interested in the same things as me. And it's funny because like for a really long time, I actually haven't wanted to really go back to North America, because I find like, I don't know how to say this, but Okay, let me preface this by saying that, like, no matter who you are, even if I think you're an idiot, you're going to agree with me. The world is full of idiots. The world is full of people who think that other people are idiots, right? This is a thing in human nature. It's like, oh, look at that guy, he's stupid. You know, it doesn't matter what like people. This is what we believe, right? We believe that other people are stupid for some other reason, and from a base factor, I think a lot of it is like we, especially in coronavirus times now, we're so getting demonetized, especially especially in coronavirus times now. A lot of people are holed up in their like little special, you know, circle of family and local people. They can't escape, right? And you know, don't get me wrong, I love my family, but what's the old adage? It's like, you know, the real family are the friends that you choose for life type of thing. And I think, like, for me, like you said, being able to find these communities and these people through cryptocurrency, through, you know, charitable goodness, through an interest in, you know, EOSIO when everyone else is leaving. I like that everyone's leaving EOSIO. I find more true believers and friends.
It's you just need to look at the Wall Street cheat sheet chart. It's capitulation.
Yeah, it's totally capitulation. 100%.
Right? That's a pretty strong buy signal. Right? If your macros are good, you still have a growing user base or a plausibly growing user base. Yeah. And people are accumulating to work in that space. And I mean, if only as say Wax does DeFi right, and it obviously is doing gaming right, and right. If only as a simple pass through to get Wax token, EOS might end up getting liquidity and making some people a little bit of money. So you never know, right? Like we just don't know.
That's actually what we kind of diverged there, but I wanted to do two things with you. And the second thing was that I wanted to talk about like the EOSIO chains. And here's the thing. I mean, even if EOS, the mainnet, fails, I read a really funny comment on Twitter today. I was cringe when I say Twitter because I feel like I should be saying chirp, but in time, you know, 2021 is the year of chirp. But I read an interesting comment that said like, it was something to the effect of like, if EOS, the problem with EOS is that Block One wants to keep the mainnet all for themselves. That's why they make everyone else build on other chains, private chains. I thought actually, you know, that's possible. Maybe they want a private blockchain. That's why VC funding is so bad. I mean, like,
who knows, eh?
I thought that was really good. But what it got me thinking about was something that you said you've been saying for a while was Wax, right? Like Wax has crazy onboarding, the best onboarding in the business beyond, you know, Wombat even. Ultra, they're going to be targeting gamers. Like UX, they're going to be targeting like, you know, FinCEN kind of financial regulated like markets. I mean, EOS is the main chains, maybe looking at Profi. I mean, Telos is they're building a bridge to try to onboard Ethereum DeFi users into Telos, like, you know, trying to bypass EOS altogether. Like,
well, and that's I think they will, right? I mean, that's the Wax Wax E, Wax G, whatever the hell's going on with that. You know, they're planning on doing that same thing, and that goes to the capital flow conversation that Mblue and Mr. Big were having. Is that you know, as prices start to escalate for and the fact that this is the beginning of the crypto cycle, and they're escalating to the point where it's pricing people out in Bitcoin and Ethereum already, right? That's a huge sign to me, right? So, and again, like if you just look at the charts for what it's gonna, you know, how much you're gonna make if EOS hits an all-time high versus how much you're gonna make if Wax Chain hits an all-time high. And I have, well, it's not an opinion. Wax wins that by a large margin, right?
Yeah,
so you have to make that call.
And you're completely right. Like the Winklevoss, one of the Winklevoss twins, put out a thing.
Would they be like Winklevi twins?
Winklevi twins. It could be. I don't know. I think you're probably right. Yes. So one of the Winklevis. I like it. It stays. One of the Winklevis said that they're projecting Ethereum to hit, you know, $75,000 Okay,
See,
I don't know, but if Ethereum
it's not impossible. Like if
dollars, like it's no longer a usable chain. It's
well, this is the thing. I think it's important to quantify this, right? The DeFi thing, from what I heard, and I don't have a ton of experience with this, so please listen to people who are much smarter than me about the DeFi sort of Ethereum summer or whatever thing, right? Actually, Nifty Q, I think, knows a bunch about that stuff, so I should probably ask him about it. But it sounded like it was a bunch of whales playing chicken, right? Like investing, driving the price up, investing, driving the price up, investing, driving the price up. And of course they can afford to because the transaction costs really high. But you know, when you're doing $20, $30, $40,000 worth of transactions, $20 is fucking nothing, right? But little people, but you know, me, right? Like I the people with not a lot of capital see that and like, well, shit, I want to get in on that. And you do, and the number go up on the screen, you're all happy about it. And when you take it out, it's going to cost a whole bunch and whatever. So I have a suspicion that if that is the case for Ethereum to go up to 70,000, which let's face facts is not fucking impossible, right? This space is crazy pants. But what it might end up being is a test bed for banks to play with DeFi in, you know, at scale that they want to do that, right? Like a transaction fee of $10,000 for, you know, moving $1 million around is actually not horrible, right? So that we could end up seeing Ethereum just become the big massive player. And if that happens, the chains that are positioning themselves like Wax, like EOS, if what they say is true, right? And there are some DeFi things on EOS, that's great.
And they fixed the freaking onboarding.
And they're getting to that point. I mean, Ethereum's onboarding is not that good either, right? So let's face that fact. So, you know, Proton is releasing some stuff right now. So like there's this sort of DeFi for the people. The infrastructure for that has already been built. And so when the capital inevitably flows away from there because of cost, it's going to be able to just get sucked into the vacuum that's been created by this infrastructure that works.
Yeah,
we'll see, right? It could go to Polkadot too, right? Like for every prognostication that I make, please understand that that's a theory, and there are 10 other theories, and they might even be good, right? This is a statistical science, not an absolute science, and which means that, you know, we might be right and we might be wrong, and nobody fucking knows.
Anyone that's listening to us in the crypto space, they probably either strongly agree or disagree. But that's what 1% of the world population. The real telling signal will be when the masses on board. It will be when, you know, it will be when Apple provides wallets that people can use, you know.
This is the interesting thing too about the FinCEN rules that are coming out, and you know, we got to get Fred Krueger from Proton on. Just tell him, like, listen, motherfucker, I know you're busy, but you're gonna come talk to us. I'd love to talk to Marshall too. He sounds like a freaking super genius.
Yeah.
Like, you know, looking at what he's done with Blocks.io, are you kidding me? And they're all on the same team. Like that, talk about sleeper hit potentially of the whole thing. Like they're spending the money. It's the team that put together Lynx, which was the best onboarding experience on EOS mainnet until the CPU crashed. Like they know what the hell's going on, right? So like having them together, they're going to do something amazing. We don't know what it is, but it's going to be good. And so that'll be good too. Okay, so there's one more thing, and then I gotta go because I gotta do some shit, and then I'm actually on Ken Bosak at noon, so it's a busy day.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. For next week, we've already decided we're going to do this. I have no idea how it's going to get built, but when somebody suggested on the team that built the Burning Man, apparently it's a woman. I didn't know this, but apparently it's a woman. Maybe what we could do is, you know, because I keep talking about this volcano where you throw stuff in and it like burns one up and stuff like that. I've got an amazing idea for that I'll share on another call. That has to do with our 1UP tokenomics, but. You know, you can get paper, you can write something down on the paper and you can like throw it on the fire, right? Or you can, you know, light a block up and put a sign on it and light that on fire. Like, okay, Sue, okay.
Watch,
right.
Sue had a great idea there. I would
exactly. So, you know, initially it was like, why don't we build a giant pyre and invite people to give us any kind of donation to our Build a School fund. That, you know, the Uplift and Uplift Art and the Uplift, you know, it's kind of our stated mission, right? Between MBlue and I and everybody else on the team, like we're going to build a school out of, you know, art and cool shit that we do all year. And anybody who makes any kind of donation, there's going to be, you know, wooden blocks. And I think if my idea works, they're going to be wooden blocks that are arrayed in a hyper mathematical exponential way. which could be fun. Not hyper mathematical, because I mean those people are smart. For me, which the bar is very low. And there will be another burning button. There will be another NFT. There will be another auction, and there will be another fairly large piece of land, because this one might end up being significantly bigger than the last one. And we take all the bad juju from last year, and everybody who makes a donation, you can donate as many times as you want. We're going to put that on a sign. We're going to put it on a block, and we're going to burn that motherfucker to the ground.
And you know what's not crazy about it is that I usually do something very similar in the real world here at New Year's.
My wife was talking about doing the same thing. She's like, we're rather pointedly not going to drink this year. So we're, doing a pretty serious health kick, and we've needed it because the pandemic was really good for our weight and not in the good way.
Yeah.
But so we're doing that kind of thing. It's like, why don't we go to the water and put some bad juju on a piece of paper, bad habit, bad thought, anything we want to kind of excise and do that. And it was literally 24 hours later that Sue was like, hey, why don't we, everybody's had like a shit year. Like, why don't we burn 2020 to the ground? And but maybe that's better than my exponential idea. Like, actually have 2020 and get everybody to put signs up on it. We'll have to talk about that, because that's such a resonant thing. Like, 2020 has become this meme now. We'll talk about it anyway.
Well, I mean, we could potentially affix some signs to the Burning Man.
When people see what is left of the Burning Man, we might not want to, and whoever owns the NFT owns it. So maybe they want to do it, maybe they don't. I would rather section off another piece of land and give the winner of the Burning Button NFT for that art installation complete rights to it. So that we can do another thing. I think that, like, the thing right now, like, we're up to $600, right? And I think we're gonna need like 500,000.
No, what I was saying is you could throw them into the Burning Man fire.
Oh, it's already lit. Yeah. The other way is gonna be better, just because we can make having those artifacts, building more elsewhere is gonna be better. Because, like, imagine 5 years from now, we're having this conversation. Hey, remember that first New Year's thing that we did? And we walk the path of, we walk over to the what's left of the Burning Man, right? And we're like, look at this. And if it works, I still don't know if it's going to work, but like Blue thinks that it can. You should be able to step on a pressure plate and hear the song, right? So it's like this historical artifact that exists, right? And who knows, maybe that NFT sold for $1 million 2 years later, 3 years later. So, like, there's that piece of history. And then we walk past that a little ways, and there's that time that we, set up a big monument to 2020 and burn that motherfucker to the ground. And this is what's left. And here's who owns it, right? And the year after that, same thing. The year after that, same thing. But it's like, we might be doing something like this every week, every month. Who knows? And so it becomes this living historical artifact.
Well, and if we don't, somebody else might decide to do it.
And they might be a bunch, right? Like, why wouldn't they, right? And I think there's going to be a lot of people that are working to attract people to their land. Again, the more people that walk over and build on your land, the more one up you make. So there's going to be a lot of incentive to do that.
Yeah, it's
gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. And, like, this is the thing. These are just the ideas we've come up with in the last 2 weeks. And
yeah. I've only been thinking about it for like a week and a half, and
right. Well, it was fun watching. Nifty Q and Buffalo were on last night. They're great guys. If you aren't connected with the lads yet and you're watching this right now or later, go connect with lads. It's like $LADZ. You'll be able to find them all over Twitter. Just really, really cool guys. They've been around the space for a little while. They know what's up, and they have that primary principle or guiding principle of community is really embedded into what they do in a way that I really appreciate. So they're building out in Sandbox, which I've never been in Sandbox. But I assume that you can't do as much in Sandbox as you can do in Minecraft, right? Like, you can maybe build some stuff, and you can have a city, and you can parcel it off and give people like kind of ownership rights, or around different sets or stuff, which is really cool. But can you build machines? I don't know. Can you build giant art installations? Maybe. Can your grandmother come in and build something cool, right? And that was
with her grandchild,
right. Right. And that access and the ability to enable people to have creativity and ownership over, and so they can protect the things that they created, we think is going to be special sauce. And I kind of got the sense from them towards the end of that call that we're like, wait a minute, Sandbox is pretty cool. And I'll tell you, like those guys are getting a 250 plot, like the medium sized plot. I mean, they're gonna get one anyway. Whatever they want to do with it, it's theirs. And that is an extremely selfish move in the part of our team, for two reasons. One, they're gonna want a lot more than that eventually, and two, everybody who's part of the lads is gonna want to get land right next to them. So it is super smart, frankly, for us to do it even selfishly. And it'd be great to have them around because they're really freaking cool people.
Yeah, I agree. It was cool. I enjoyed heckling you guys in that interview a lot in the chat. But again, check below. All the link for that video is below as well. There's tons of stuff below. But I think, like, just as a final note from me, somebody today earlier on your live stream summed it up, and I think this is the way that most crypto people feel. It doesn't matter what chain you've agnosticized yourself to, and if you've done that, then please don't, because there's plenty of amazing chains out there. And like Corey said, Ethereum has high gas fees, but if you hate Ethereum because you love EOS, then you're an idiot. I mean, there's room in this world for a lot of blockchains to interconnect, and there's benefits and bonuses, and I mean, say whatever you want about those top guys that create the best chains, but I mean, Brendan Blummer, Dan Larmer, Vitalik Buterin, they're all talking to one another about how to make the world a better place. It's not, oh, we're gonna win. I mean, I'm sorry, but if you're in the system and you haven't got yours yet, maybe you invested in a shitcoin like Snob. I don't know. I did that once. But at the same time, it's like, there are going to be a lot of good projects out there, and there's not going to be one that's going to rule them all. But I think as a family in crypto, what you have to recognize is that the majority of people had a shitty year, but the people that were locked in crypto, the year wasn't really that bad. I mean, we all had each other. We all kind of gathered around this idea that the world as it exists is really messed up, especially when the financial institutions decide to print money because they don't know what else to do.
Honestly, like economically speaking, especially considering the fact that inflation isn't that bad, printing money, for the countries like Canada, for example, and Germany, printed money and gave it to people. Economy is good. People are good. People are incentivized to stay home. Less people, almost an order of magnitude, less people are dying. Like, printing money was the right thing to do. It just was. Is there capital inflation because of that? Sure. Who's that going to affect? Mostly rich people. And let's face facts. In a pandemic, they're all right. They're literally making money hand over fist.
Well, again, though, I think it depends on the country that you're in, right? Like, if you're printing money and you're giving it to the people, that's great. I don't have a problem with that. If you're printing money and you're giving it to corporations who have failed to bail them out, like,
that in the States is the perfect example of how not to do it, in my opinion. It's supporting.
If airlines are failing because of the pandemic, then they should have bought Bitcoin. They should have looked after their balance sheets, right? Like,
I mean, that there's a good argument for that, right? And
that's one thing that we can say about Block One. I mean, no matter how bad Block One is, they're not going to fail because they have 240,000 Bitcoin.
Right, they're going to be fine. And the only question is, like, how are they going to build something of commensurate value to the capital that we gave them?
Well, I hope so.
It's a possibility. I still think it's a real possibility. I really do.
I don't want to. I'm trying to keep
it. And it's early. Like, I think that the strategy of, like, as much as we would rather have a messaging team that was letting us know what they were doing 24 hours a day, right? As investors or as bag holders, whatever, it makes a shit ton of sense to acquire a bunch of Bitcoin, keep acquiring that Bitcoin, and do nothing for the entire crypto winter. Because if what you're doing is sitting on capital, do you want to spend it during the crypto winter, or do you want to spend it when Bitcoin 50x's? Now you have 50 times the gunpowder to do whatever you want. And if that is entirely conceivable to what they were planning the entire time, and frankly, what I would have done.
And what pisses me off the most about it is we're in the crypto space. We're saying, oh, Michael Saylor, all of these other there was one from Canada, Michael Saylor of Canada, apparently that.
Michael Saylor's in Canada? I didn't know that.
No,
For people that don't know.
Michael Saylor of Canada, like Michael Saylor's become.
Oh,
Michael Saylor's
yeah, I
become
understand. Yeah.
like he's become
Yeah.
the Google it, like he's become the verb. It's like, oh, there's a Michael Saylor in Canada. There's a Michael Saylor.
That's awesome. Well, and it makes sense, right? Because I just saw somebody tweet yesterday. It might have been this morning, about the fact that it's every CFO of every company is like, okay, if we don't have exposure to the deflationary aspect of Bitcoin, again, I'm not saying that like money printer go burr is not going to cause inflation. It will, right? What I'm saying is that it's going to cause inflation if used properly at a much lower rate than it's going to help actually people that are starving. So just want to couch that. But for companies, you're trying to protect your capital, and the dollar is not going to be the best way to do that, right? And so it's becoming the thing that's going to be standard. And that's why when people are talking about this being a super cycle, like I'm sold. Like that's a total possibility. And I like that Michael Saylor is now a verb.
Yeah. So just Saylor. But yeah, just Saylor your company.
Sailor Moon.
Saylor, yeah. But this is what annoys me about it, because when someone in the traditional space comes in and buys up a bunch of Bitcoin, they're geniuses. But when Block One does it, like how many months before anyone else did it, then it's like, oh no, you're not taking care of EOS. Okay, yeah, Block One does a lot of things wrong. Better, communication would be good. Maybe they can't. Maybe their hands are tied. But here's the thing,
and
right?
that's a possibility too. Legally, that could absolutely be a possibility that they're trying to stay, in front of some really, 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 important legal stuff that we know nothing about.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a good point.
And so here's what I will say, on an outgoing note of 2020. If you have a corporation with 240,000 Bitcoin, and you have a CTO, I believe it's the CTO, who is saying, we're not just sitting on this, we're going to do shit with it with Profi.
Yeah.
EOS is far from over. It's far from dead. And
100%.
I mean, if you have this company that is also essentially using all of their VC funding that is going into the EOSIO ecosystem, because it doesn't all go there. Some of it went into Ethereum, which we won't go into now because it's too late for that. But it's building out the code for blockchains like Wax, blockchains like Proton, blockchains like UX, blockchains like Telos.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the most critical people in the whole EOSIO ecosystem of Block One, one of the most critical projects is Telos. And even Telos is saying Block One does a great job at updating the code, and we love using the code. Like things, I'm not telling you to buy EOS. I'm not telling you to hodl your EOS. What I'm telling you is essentially what Corey told you. Look it up in a dictionary. It's capitulation. Sorry, a little bit later.
No, Google the Wall Street cheat sheet and learn that shit. Do an image search on it and save it to your phone and watch it, because you can watch. You'll be able to watch the market. Like watch the news cycle, you'll be able to tell exactly where you are in the market at any time, and you're going to know exactly when you're going to want to buy. And it's 6 months ago. Like,
is it going to moon? I don't know. We don't know. Is it going to die? No, it's not going to die.
Completely agreed. Like this price base is pretty freaking strong now, right? Like it just printed like a little bit of a new low. Not really a big fucking deal, if you ask me.
It
right?
doesn't freaking move. It's more stable than most of the stable coins out there on the market.
But technically, you can almost say the same thing for Wax though too.
It's not good when Bitcoin's going up $1,000 a day.
But it
But how long is Bitcoin going to go up?
This is the thing. Go up for it's going to come back. But like alt season is always a lagging indicator, right? Like when you see the situation where Bitcoin start, and honestly, we should see a Bitcoin retraction of 30% from here anyway, right? Like I'd love to see a retest to 20,000, because going from 20,000 to 30,000 is fucking crazy. It's great, but it's mental. So like to set up a good chart, we should see that, and you'll watch like everyone's going to be all like, "Oh my god, the fucking train's over," blah 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 blah. We know. I mean, come on now. It was 20,000 5 seconds ago. It went to 30,000. Now it's 20,000 again. This is great news. If it touches 20 grand and you don't buy it, I mean, it's because you hate money. Now, could it go lower than that? Of course it can. But is it going to be higher in a year than where it is right now? Very likely, right? So we have that situation going on for us. That capital that comes out when people are selling that Bitcoin to wait for when it tests, the next level, goes somewhere. It goes to Tether, and then people start looking around. They start shopping for deals. What's a good deal? Oh, did you hear what Block One was saying about owning 230,000 Bitcoin? That's interesting. Oh crap! What is this wax shit? Boom! That's when the alt season starts. That's how the capital flow. I think it's going to work.
And that's what gets me, right? Like, once this, we're kind of at the point now where Bitcoin is no longer a risky asset. You have major corporations and major companies putting their store of value into it. And
nuts.
What's interesting about the whole Block One thing is, like, probably, when this shit hits like mainstream news media, people are going to look over at Block One owns 240,000 Bitcoin. I'm going to fucking invest in EOS. That's genius. That doesn't happen inside the crypto space. The Ether people are like, oh, scammers, Block One sucks. But when the other 98% of the world decides that crypto is the thing, and the 10, 20, 30% of investors that are following the sailors come in, they're going to be investing in projects like Ethereum. They're going to be investing in projects like Block One. They're going to be investing in projects like Chainlink. It's going to be these old school ecosystems that are going to reinvent themselves in new and exciting ways. That's my take. That's what I think. I think we're in for a crazy 2021. I think we're going to have a lot of news to cover on this channel. I think if EOS stays stable to the end of 2021 and everything else moons and EOS doesn't, then we're just going to have to change the name of the channel, but I don't think that's ever going to happen.
All right, well, there we go. Happy 2020 being dead and gone in Japan.
Yes.
Amazing things came out of 2020. Amazing challenges came out of 2020. But here we are. Like you and I are sitting at the bottom of an amazing wave. If you're watching this, chances are you are too. And so I'm very, very happy for you guys because you're going to have probably a very good year. And yeah, we'll be back pretty soon. I'm actually going to be on Ken Bozak's show in an hour and a bit. And then we'll just keep on keeping on. Next Thursday morning, 9:00 Eastern Standard Time, we're going to do another weekly update. And yeah, it's going to be fun just doing this literally all year.
Yeah, we're going to rip it up, and crypto's going to rip it up, and it's going to be great. So we want you guys to come back and thank you for
and
time with us.
If you can think of any way that we can leverage your creativity and your friends' creativity and having a whole blast in the uplift in whatever ways you guys really love doing to create some NFTs or some content of some kind that can help us to build a freaking school in Haiti, let us know, because we're going to make that shit happen.
Totally. We need an EOSIO arena where, protoners and UXers can fight it out.
Okay. Representatives from each sector /team/tribe come together in the Corey and Jimmy EOSIO arena to fight for supremacy. Whoever wins, donates the prize to charity or whatever. But this is interesting. That's
we can even have a battle royal, man.
We could. In a whole big chunk of land. We could totally do that. Dude, we could totally do that. All right. Okay, this show's over. Otherwise, we're just gonna keep having good ideas. Thank you guys so much. Li Yi Qiang. Hopefully I said your name right. Happy New Year to you. And we'll see you, later.